Good afternoon. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us here today. So in the news recently have been several issues with sexual harassment under the dome here in Springfield. And I'd first like to thank leadership for bringing forward the legislation that adds sexual harassment to the Legislative Inspector General's duties. There's been discussion of extending the one-year moratorium, that timeline, so we applaud those efforts as well. And also appointing, after much delay, a Legislative Inspector General. So some positive steps have been taken, but unfortunately they don't go nearly far enough, which is why we have introduced House Bill 4151. Right now there's a task force that's being formed to help address some of these issues, some of these concerns, but those in Springfield have a tendency to take too long. There are some immediate steps that we can do right now to cure some of these concerns. A resolution was passed out of a pensions committee this morning. Once again, resolutions are not law, and we need to clearly strengthen our legislative ethics laws. So what House Bill 4151 does is a number of things. First off, it incorporates the suggestions made by departing Legislative Inspector General Homer in a letter dated April 15th of 2014. It strengthens the conflict of interest provisions. It requires more comprehensive annual financial statements of economic interest to mirror those that judges are required to do. It adds censure and an administrative penalty for any violations of these up to $25,000 under current Illinois law. When it is actually a law that is being violated, it's only a $5,000 fine. So this ups it to $25,000. A more unique proposal here under 4151 is how we appoint the Legislative Ethics Commission. Right now, it is a leadership-driven initiative. They appoint 2 members from each caucus in each chamber. If you look at who's currently serving on that, they are typically members of leadership from those caucuses. What House Bill 4151 would do is it would remove leadership from that process. It would make it closely resemble a grand jury or a jury in a normal court of law to where people are randomly selected. So each caucus would have 2 members selected to serve for a total of 8 for a total of 60 days. They would be required to adjudicate any complaints within those 60 days, and then a new Legislative Ethics Commission would be seated. So therefore, we're getting a rolling membership in Legislative Ethics Commission for oversight. It's about as close as we can get to peer review without bias. Right now, there is, whether a perceived or real, a tendency to protect membership and sort of discount or put a chilling effect on anyone who's willing to step forward with an ethics complaint. We need to change that and make sure that the complainant has the rights that they are entitled to fairly address their concerns. Another thing it does is for the members, or for the Legislative Inspector General, it renames it. That's a technical thing in nature, but it also removes the requirement that they have state, county, or local jurisdictional experience and makes it simply federal. Once again, there are highly ethical people that serve in all levels of government in Illinois, but we have this appearance of conflict here. And if we can remove that by getting people with federal experience appointed, it takes any political process or potential political process, it removes it, it diminishes it. It also adds posting requirements. So in everyone's area of employment, there's normally things posted for employment, such as what your rights are under the Fair Labor Practices Act, things like that, hours required, things like that. This would put there a posting requirement, how to file an ethics complaint and whom you file an ethics complaint with. It's important that we make this process as easy and as transparent as possible for any state employee to go ahead and file an ethics complaint.